Good morning to all of you out there. Welcome to the program Agenda. Thank God, and thank God indeed, it's a Friday. We all get to celebrate or take a break and have a weekend. And sabihin ninyo, oh, Sito, matagal na kami naka-lockdown. Kahit na paano, still enjoy, still celebrate, still be grateful because that's the teaching that I have been picking up from the Bible this past few weeks. In all things, rejoice and celebrate. And today is February 26, 2021. Kahapon po, nag-celebrate na tayo ng EDSA Revolution, and we will mention that in the headlines. It's a Friday, as I mentioned, and I hope you are watching us via Signal TV, channels 8 and 250 for high definition. Yung mga sosyal mga TV, punta kayo sa channel 250. Kung katulad ko, na regular lang ang television, channel 8 tayo. But no problem with that. In any case, and if you don't have Signal TV, mag-subscribe na po. Maraming program, maraming pagpipilian. Dito po tayo, dito po tayo. Para ako nagtitinda sa Divisoria. In any case, para ako in any case, para akong attorney. But just for those who have no subscription with Signal, in the meantime, you can watch us via facebook.com/OneNewsPH. Ulitin ko po, no? Kasi may mga nagte-text sa akin, may mga nagme-message. Saan ko ba kayo mapapanood kung wala kaming signal o wala na kasi kayo sa TV5? Mapapanood nyo po kami facebook.com/OneNewsPH, and sa YouTube, One News PH, hanapin nyo na lang yung programang Agenda. And doon naman po sa mga kaibigan natin, lalo na po yung mga medyo buntong hininga, no? Yung mga mapapa-interview, gustong magpa-interview, gustong mag-Zoom, mag-group chat, magpakabit na kayo ng PLDT home fiber internet or fiber internet. Kasi alam niyo po, iuli-uli to. Hindi naman ako endorser ng PLDT, but you know, it is so frustrating to have great guests who have lousy connection. It is also frustrating if signals drop, etc., etc. So I always tell my friends, get a PLDT fiber internet connection. Marami ring promo. May promo pa nga sila na pwede mong pagsamahin yung signal doon sa PLDT home fiber internet. I will always endorse good products and I don't need to be paid. Parang yung sa BIMEG. I am an endorser, lecturer, because I want to teach Filipinos, yung mga kababayan natin na pumupusta, tumataya sa baboy. Ngayon talagang talo mo pa yan nagsabong pag ikaw ay nagtayo ng piggery, no? I do that because I want to help people and because I believe in the product. The same way I believe in Signal TV. Okay, tama na yung ating commercialization of the air, sabi nga ng ibang kaibigan ko. In any case, ayun na naman si in any case, no? Gawin ko na kaya ang tagline ko yun. In any case, agenda is here. Today, we will be interviewing a variety of guests. First up, we will be speaking with the former Cebu City Mayor Tommy Osmeña. Alam naman nyo, itong si Senyor Tommy Osmeña, he speaks his mind. He has always been very upfront. At times, people say he's very abrasive. Pero alam nyo, one thing you cannot say about Cebuanos, they're not hypocrites. They will tell you to your face, they will tell you in public. Kita nyo na nga, pati nga yung mga governor, yung Governor Garcia, pumapalag na sa national government because Cebuanos have always considered themselves a separate lot. Kumbaga, we're Filipinos, we're all Filipinos, but Cebuanos, they will not allow themselves to be under the thumb of Imperial Manila. So we will speak with Tommy Osmeña. What's the latest? What's up? I received a text from him. He kind of concurred with my writings regarding agriculture. So we'll check with them. And then we will speak with Mr. Francis Lim, President, Financial Executives Institute of the Philippines. or Phoenix. If I'm not mistaken, si Francis Lim used to be with the Management Association of the Philippines. And tanong natin, paano na? Paano na hindi pumayag si Presidente mag-MGCQ ang buong Pilipinas? We're back to square one. We still don't have vaccines. We are the last, according to some reports, we are the last in Asia to get the vaccines. And what is going to be their crystal ball analysis of the economy if things don't change? And last but not the least, let's speak with Mr. Miko Liorca, Officer in Charge, Pasay City Epidemiology and Surveillance Unit, because we are sincerely concerned for the citizens of Pasay, the leadership of Pasay City. Kasi alam niyo po, lahat naman tayo may mga problema sa COVID, but the thing in Pasay is it's beginning to cause a lot of concern even for people outside of Pasay, because allegedly the speed of transmission is abnormal, phenomenal. Dati raw, dyan sa Pasay, may isa, dalawa sa isang pamilya magkakaroon. Pero hindi naman lahatan. Ngayon daw practically buong pamilya, pag may na-test silang isa, malamang at malamang lahat meron. Okay, so we will speak with Miko Liorca on that. And now, let's go to the front page of the Philippine Star. 600,000 doses of Sinovac's COVID-19 vaccines will arrive this Sunday, says the Chinese embassy. This would be the first batch of vaccines that will officially arrive in Philippine shores. That's good news. Para sa inyong pwedeng makakuha. Pero para sa mga senior citizens at frontliners, pareho pa rin ang labanan. Hindi tayo pwedeng magpasaksak ng Sinovac kasi sabi ng FDA. Next, the Agriculture Department says it is open to raising the price ceiling of pork to around 310 to 340 pesos per kilogram. That is maybe good news for do sa mga survivors, do sa mga last man standing na magbababoy na meron pang baboy na pwedeng ibenta. That's good news. Pero sa totoo lang po, hindi naman sila kumikita ng limpak-limpak dahil napakamahal na pong magpalaki ng baboy, napakamahal mag-transport ng baboy, at napakahirap mag-transport ng baboy. But that's still good news. Binabawi medyo ng Department of Agriculture para naman makatikim na tayo ng chicharon bulaklak, ng crispy pata, etc. Next up, Justice Secretary Menardo Guevara tells the United Nations standard protocol was not followed in many drug operations. I salute you, Secretary Guevara, and I salute the government of President Duterte, because hindi naman po sasabihin niya ni Secretary Guevara kung walang clearance from Malacanang. I salute them because it is a sign of a spirit or an attempt for transparency. Matapos ang pagkahaba-habang litanya, after all the litany of accusations and allegations, we have no less than the Secretary of Justice confirming that in many cases, in many drug operations, the standard were not followed. Ayun na nga, kasi anong pruweba niyan? What proof do we have? Real proof? Yung nangyari po sa Commonwealth, doon sa may isang fast food chain. Sila, PDEA and police, they had an encounter because they have really reverted to unahan sa kung sino makabunot, sino makatutok, sino unang makaputok. Ayun, sila nagkaputukan. So we will find out ano ba yung missing counter, meron bang atraso, etc. But that won't happen if standard operating procedures were followed. Okay. And the Philippine National Police and Philippine Drug Enforcement Agency have launched a joint investigation on the shootout incident in Quezon City, which left 4 dead, 2 of them police officers. One was a PDEA, or Philippine Drug Enforcement Agency operative, and another who was an informant. Ayan po. Those are primarily the headlines in the front page of the Philippine Star. I'm just checking if I missed something. Oh, interesting. The Land Transportation Office also issued an order stopping the requirement of MVIS for registration. Parang matapos silang mabugbog sa Senado, sabi nila, di wag na lang, kesa naman sa lagi kaming pinuputakte. And President Duterte wants people's opinion regarding whether or not we will continue or discontinue the VFA agreement, the Visiting Forces Agreement. Parang parang Upid Diliman lang, we will no longer continue the agreement with the university, says the RAFP. Parang ganun kasimple. In any case, let's go to our first interview. We have with us Tommy Osmeña, former mayor of Cebu City. He also served as congressman of the 2nd District of the city. Let's welcome Mayor Tommy. Kamusta na, sir?
Okay naman, Tito. Ikaw?
I'm
How are
fine.
you taking out of news?
Well, I have to do this every morning.
Turning upside down.
Okay. In any case, Mayor Tommy, just catching up with you before we go into the serious matters of COVID in Cebu City, or the concerns of the province and the thoughts you shared with me in agriculture. What have you been up to? It's not easy for a man of so much experience, so much talent and intellect to just, be ordinary citizen Tomas Osmeña. So what have you been up to?
I keep in touch. I keep in touch with the small people. You see, what I see right now is a struggle between those who are talking about policy, but what's actually happening in the ground is different. So it
Mm-hmm.
becomes an issue of uh, management versus lawyers who try to make decisions from Imperial Manila, as you call it.
Mm-hmm.
There's a big world of difference. As you can see that even today, I have found out that many people don't even like to be vaccinated. Now, what does that mean to you? To me, it means that people don't trust the government because
Mm-hmm.
credibility is very, very important. And I find out that if you want to implement something correctly and efficiently, you have to get the support of the people who are going to implement it.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, nobody knows what we're going to do. In the case of COVID, we don't even know how we're going to distribute. So how do you expect people to believe in it and they don't even know what they're supposed to do? We're not talking about distributing it to 20,000 people. We're talking about
Mm-hmm.
20 million, 30, 40, 50, 60 million. So you have very basic questions. How do you implement this from a central office in Manila? This is something that I wonder. No? You miss
Give,
out one detail. Huh? You
yeah.
need dry ice. We don't have enough dry ice in the Philippines to cover all of the vaccines that have to be brought. Even
Mm-hmm.
syringes, where you're going to get 50 million, 60 million syringes to inoculate. What about those who's going to do the inoculation? It's all talking about not just where are the vaccines. How are we going to do this?
Mm-hmm.
No, you cannot do it without the support of the local people. The local people don't even know what they're supposed to do. They just presume that somebody in Manila will tell them, ito yan, so do it. It's not go- It doesn't work out that way. I've been a local official all my life. You have
Mm-hmm.
to consult people, you have to ask them, and every local government, every barangay is different, and every leader is different, and they have to consult the people. Now, worse, this big insulation factor between national and the masa itself. So they're just going by general reputation. No, magaling yan. But how will you do it? You know,
Mhm.
and we have not even planned. This is one thing I'm really worried about. We're already lagging behind, and we don't even have any vaccines.
Mhm.
You know, and we're look. I read the newspapers. They're talking about quarantine. They're talking about whether they should lift all these restrictions. I think they're missing the whole point. Where are the
Mhm.
vaccines? How do you go to war without any ammunition? You know,
Mhm.
this is how frustrating it is from the ground. How do
Okay.
we fight this?
Uh, Sir, are you convinced? Do you believe that that the government really has ordered more than enough vaccines? Because when I listen to some of the people speaking in government, I heard one person say, "We only ordered 100,000 from Pfizer. The Sinovac vaccine, there will be only 600,000 coming this weekend." And I'm saying, what happened to all those millions and millions that they were talking about? You've been in government. Am I missing something? Are the Filipinos
Yes,
missing
yes,
something?
Art. You know, like not only this, you try. There are 500,000 Filipino nurses in the United States. If you look at each of their closets, it's full of medicines. You cannot bring in medicines to the Philippines. It has to go through the FDA. If you're going to bring in medicines, even though you buy it from an American drugstore, it will be labeled as counterfeit drugs. This is what's
Mm,
happening to the country because the drug companies here control the trade. That's why medicine here is so expensive, and in India, it's one tenth the price. So
mhm,
now, you're talking about COVID vaccines. You're not allowed to import. If I go to a store in America and buy 100 Pfizer vaccines, and I go to the customs, I'll be charged of importing counterfeit drugs, even though it comes from Pfizer. That's the
mhm.
technical charge they will put against you. And each of that tablet has to be inspected by the FDA. So this is more than just an obstacle. It's a legal obstacle. It's a physical obstacle, and we have so many friends in America. We can tell them, "Pare, just send it through FedEx.
Yeah,
Give
well,
me give me a
actually,
dozen."
yeah, actually, in America, all you have to do is go to your pharmacist and they'll give you the shot. At least some of my friends have told me that. Dito, kung may Mercury o meron kang Watson, pupunta ka lang doon, yung kanilang pharmacy, sasaksakan ka na ng bakuna because they're allowed to give the vaccine. But obviously here, we don't even have the vaccine. But I do remember, I hope I remember correctly, Mayor Tommy, that you are a cancer survivor, correct?
Yes,
And therefore, being a
yes.
cancer survivor, I am certain that you have gone through the nightmare of trying to procure, trying to access special medicines that you're referring to na hindi mo pwedeng basta mapasok sa Pilipinas. Am I correct?
No, I was treated in the Houston, Texas.
Lucky you.
Unfortunately, I'm covered by insurance in America, so wala akong problema in getting the
Mm,
treatment and going to the hospital. They take care of everything.
mhm,
Here, it's impossible. It's really impossible. And I really pity the poor. It's very expensive,
mhm.
extremely expensive. So
So,
what do we do now? And even
exactly
if
my
even
question.
still, you're still not allowed to do it.
Okay, exactly my
That's
question. I mean, what would you? I don't know if you are in good terms with the president. I don't know if you are a friend to the administration. But what what should be done by now? Because we can't continue chasing our tail.
Well, to me, get down to the basic principle. It's an issue of management. We're concentrating too much on policy. How do you get it from here to there and to the person as quickly, as efficiently, as timely as possible. You know? And then you give it to the lawyers to figure out what are the obstacles that will prevent you from doing that. But it should be the manager that should tell you, the logistics expert, that this is what we have to go through. We have to skip through this process. You know, what is the risk when you don't get your medicines? Big. You're going to die. You know?
Mm-hmm.
But they say, no, it's not safe. We have to follow the rules. So, ay na lang. That's the way I see it. You know? It's a classic case of mismanagement.
Mm-hmm.
And we have an administration that seems to know how to take lives. We need an administration that knows how to save lives. No,
Mm-hmm.
that's the whole difference between what's going on right now and what should be happening.
Okay, now shifting gears, what about you sent me a text about a week or 2 weeks ago regarding your experience in agriculture because I wrote an article. I said that without blaming any particular group, the truth is Philippine agriculture is broken. It is so segmented. It has become kanya-kanya. The government has not, all past administrations did not prioritize agriculture. Now, what was your experience? Because you mentioned being an awardee and getting public recognition for the programs you did while you were in Cebu.
Well, you know what's important is that agriculture is probably one of the best courses. That's better than taking standard course on anything, because you take up agriculture, you have to know a little bit about engineering, you have to know about business, you have to know how to deal with the farmers, you have to know about technology, you have to know about if you're missing one component, it's like the components of a bridge. You're missing one part, you're missing the whole thing. Now, for example, what's wrong with the Philippines? It's very simple example. In the United States, they average more or less 20 kabans per hectare on rice.
Mm.
Here, harvest 100 kabans per hectare 3 times a year. But in the United States, it's cheap. How come we can bring in, we try to buy rice from the United States, and here it's very expensive. Well, because agriculture here is handled by the Department of Agriculture, who have no knowledge on the business of agriculture. And they don't like to get involved in the business of agriculture because that's a turf thing between the Department of Trade and Industry. But
Mm.
all they know is tell you how to plant, when to plant, what kind to plant, what kind of insecticide to use. But how to make a profit, that's missing in the equation. It's, agriculture is a business, is a business, is a business. If you can't make money, you're going to fail. Now, DTI will not get involved in agriculture because that's not their turf. So
Mm.
here, you have the case of blind. And then you have DPWH that also need neither DTI or the Department of Agriculture know how to go about in providing the infrastructure. What infrastructure? Farm to market roads, irrigation, how this all translate to building up an economy. So we don't even have a single auction market in the Philippines. Uh, That's we don't know how to get there. You should see other countries. It's just incredible. There's less middlemen. It's very efficient, very fast. Now we have a case of farmers that were coming down from the mountains and putting their bananas on our sidewalk because they find they make more money that way. That's not the way to run things. And unfortunately, there's not going to be any change in that for the next 50 years. So agriculture is a multi-dimensional thing. And our government all compartmentalized. The left hand doesn't like to get involved with the right hand, and that's where it gets mixed up. So if you want to have an efficient agricultural program, you undergo a basic sociological problem. I'll point something out to you. I'm a major in
Mm.
agroeconomics. Show me a country where a majority of the population is engaged in agriculture, and I will show you a country where the starvation and malnutrition is. Isn't that ironic? You go to America, 3% engaged in agriculture and they're overproducing. You go to Bangladesh, everybody's engaged in agriculture and they're all starving. This is true all over the world. But we don't recognize that because as you have an effective agricultural program, you actually displace people. You displace them with machinery, you displace them with better infrastructure, you displace all that. So when they say we're going to get more people involved in agriculture, you're really going backwards. No? At the same time, say, what do we do with all these poor people? That's the problem. And they cannot solve that in DTA. They cannot solve that in the Department of Agriculture. They cannot solve that in any department in DPWH. It is
Mhm.
someone who has to have a good overview of the situation because there's a fundamental difference between microeconomics and macroeconomics. An
Okay.
example of that is you can teach a farmer to use 2 times more cabbages. He'll double his income. But if you teach all the farmers to double their production, the price of cabbage will collapse.
Mhm.
So that's the situation we're dealing with. That's the vicious cycle we've been struggling with over the past 50 years since we got our independence.
Okay, well, Mayor, last segment, last few questions. I would like to think, or I have the impression, that there in Cebu, in the province of Cebu, in Cebu City, the profile of the players, the leaders, the personalities has gradually changed, bringing in young people. Uh, how do you feel about that situation? Do you think that Cebu as a whole has better, more informed leaders, or is it still going to be the same old guards running the politics of Cebu?
With new people, there's hope. With old people, I'm sorry to say, there's no hope. I'd rather
Mhm,
take a chance with new people because something might happen. Something's not
mhm,
going to happen with the old people around. I know. I was one of the younger people when I came in, and I was very aggressive. Now I'm
mhm,
one of the older ones, and I'm more resistant to change. But I've
mhm.
realized, looking back, if you want to see improvement, you have to change. People want to improvement without changing. That's impossible. You're defying the laws of gravity. Change,
Mhm.
better does not exist. Better is somewhere in the sky. And if you're going to stay where you are, huh, you're not going to change. Not going to get better. People don't like to change because there's a risk. So we don't know how to take risks. We
Okay.
don't know how to manage risk. These are the things that I see. So to answer your question, there's I had a team in City Hall. I call them the mayor's management team. At one point, there were 80 of us. Now, to join the mayor's management team, you should never have been in government. That's the basic rule. Number one. Number two, you have to be a cum laude graduate. And I
Mhm,
thought they were doing very well. We were even cited by the Ateneo Graduate School of Business of being a model in
mhm.
management, in the same level as Banco de Oro and some of the leading corporations. Because I have young people who defy seniority, they defy protocol, they question everything. And that's what we
Okay.
need.
Okay,
I
well,
like that.
the time's up for us right now, but I'm sure I'll be speaking with you more often as things heat up in Cebu. And this is just a warm up. I'd like to thank you for your time, Mayor Tommy Osmeña, and please stay healthy.
Thank you very much, Ito. Thank you for having me.
Okay, that's Mayor Tommy Osmeña, Tomas Tommy Osmeña, former mayor of Cebu City, and good to see that he's healthy and he's still sharp and he still speaks his mind. We'll be right back after a few reminders. Welcome back to the program agenda. Next up, we have Mr. Miko Llorca. He is the officer in charge of the Pasay City Epidemiology and Surveillance Unit, or CESU. Good morning, Miko.
Good morning.
Okay, Miko, we'd like to ask you for an update on what's going on in Pasay City. What is the situation? Kasi medyo nakaka-alarma yung nabalitaan namin kahapon. The lockdown is extended to 55 barangays, and someone mentioned in an interview that the transmission is family units as a whole, unlike last year where it would be two members of a family, but now it is entire families that are getting infected and at a rapid rate. Miko?
That is correct, sir. Let me just clarify with the number of barangays under localized granular lockdowns or quarantines. But we have 56 po. We have 56 barangays involving around 95 to 97 households.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so that's sorry, Miko. So I just want to make sure that we're clear with that, because there's a big difference when the news comes out that 56 barangays are on lockdown. It doesn't necessarily mean that the spread is all over those barangays. There are only so many families in 56 barangays.
Yes, sir, that is correct po.
Okay.
These lockdowns are just localized, meaning it could be group of houses or compound or just the street. It doesn't mean that the whole barangay is under lockdown. So people who are working, as long as wala po sila dun sa area ng may mga kaso, pwede pa rin po silang pumasok. Yung mga tindahan po sa mga barangay, basta yun nga po, hindi naman kasama sa localized lockdown, pwede pa rin po sila magbukas.
Okay, now regarding yung spread or rate of transmission, because I was listening to someone yesterday talking about Pasay, and they were saying na ang bilis daw compared to last year. How accurate was that statement?
That is true, sir. Right now, we have 465 active cases. More than 50% of that, sir, are people in living in one household. So magkakasama po sa bahay, magkakapamilya, na hindi po namin to nakita before. This is very unusual. And the sudden rise of our cases as well. That's why we already asked for the help of UH na para mapa-genome sequence po yung mga cases namin. So that we will know kung may bagong variant na kumakalat or is it the UK variant? We don't know yet.
Now, do the authorities in Pasay, the health experts, meron na ba kayong nakikitang pinagmulan or dahilan? Have you seen a cause or a reason for this resurgence of COVID? Because Pasay never really had a problem. The quarantine and health protocols there have been quite strict in the past. Nagkaroon ba ng lapse, or do you have any idea?
That is true, sir. We are looking into many factors. Number one, nagkaroon po kami ng one UK variant case last February 12 na report sa amin. All contact trace was done, extensive testing was done. But at the same time, another factor that we are looking into is that, of course, we are receiving cases from other LGUs, from the DOH. Ito yung mga tao na tiga Pasay, tapos magpapa-test outside Pasay, and then makukuha namin yung results yan after mga 1 to 2 days. So yung window period na nag-aantay sila ng resulta na hindi natin alam kung nag-quarantine ba sila or hindi, or yung family members, that's one factor as well. Plus yung location ng Pasay na nasa amin yung airport, sir. Marami po kaming mga transient dormitories, mga bed space na ginagamit po ng mga tao na habang nag-aantay ng flight, no? But definite po, no, is yung high transmission rate po sa community, sa households. That's very evident po sa data po natin.
Okay, but marami bang hindi sumusunod doon sa health protocol? Kasi wala tayong tigil ng papaalala sa mga tao na magsuot ng mask, mag-social distancing. Have the people of Pasay have you observed na nag-relax sila? Kasi may mga lugar talagang ganun, parang nag-relax eh.
Opo. Masasabi rin po natin gano'n, ano, baka po nag-relax po yung mga tao. Minsan hindi rin po natin maiwasan na magkakaroon ng gathering dahil kunyari mainit po sa bahay, so lalabas sila para magpahangin sa labas at magkakakwentuhan, yung mga magkakapit-bahay. Hindi rin po maiwasan po yan. So, wala naman pong tigil ang lokal na pamahalaan ng Pasay sa pag-remind, no, sa mga tao po, sa mga pasayeros na at least po, sundin po natin yung any habit, no, pag tawagin namin, yung ensure to always wash your hands, mask is a must, implement physical distancing. At at the same time, nakikiusap po kami na sana mas medyo maging disiplinado pa tayo and bantayan po, no, yung mga sarili po natin na pagka tayo nagka-symptoms, medyo huwag na muna tayong makihalo po sa iba.
Okay. Miko, you mentioned earlier yung UK variant. You had one case of a COVID positive person with the UK variant. Nahanap na ba kagad lahat yung contact? No? Is that definitely a UK variant, and what is the status of that individual?
Yes, na-report po sa amin ito noong Feb 12. Pero nung na po na yan, recovered case na po namin yung pasyente. So, na-contact trace po namin yung contacts niya, na-test po namin yung contacts and na-quarantine po namin, na-isolate po namin sila sa quarantine facility namin. But then when we got this report, we did a more extensive contact tracing involving third generation of contacts. So we also did mass testing. Fortunately, this patient that we're talking about tested negative naman po. And nagtatapos na lang sila ng quarantine po nila. And although one contact tested positive, out of the 39 contacts that we traced, one contact tested positive po, yung kasama po nila sa compound po. We are just waiting for the result of the genome test po na ginawa.
Okay. Any word about the possibility of a new variant in Pasay City? Kasi last week medyo nagkapikunan sa Cebu when experts said that there was a Cebu variant. Medyo uminit nga yung ulo ni Governor Gwendolyn Garcia. Now, in Pasay, kumusta ba yung situation dyan? Yung sa variant?
Well, actually po, naghahanda po kami na sa kung ano man yung magiging resulta po ng sequence po na ginawa po namin. Kasi right now po talaga, highly suspicious pa lang po kami based po dun sa galaw po ng mga kaso namin sa community.
Okay,
so
then
we are very thankful po kami sa DOH. Very active po ang pakikipag-coordinate po sa amin.
Assuming, Miko, that there is a new variant in Pasay City, are you going to lock down the city?
Hello, sir.
Kung merong mahanap na new variant dyan sa Pasay City causing this fast transmission, are there plans to lock down Pasay City? We have different plans that we are preparing, just in case nga po na bumalik po itong mag-positive sa kung ano mang variant po yung sequence po namin. Definitely, all our isolation facilities are equipped. Tapos may mga nakaabang pa po kami na facilities namin na pwede namin buksan. At the same time, excuse me, tuloy-tuloy po yung DILG nagpadala po sa amin
magpapadala po sa amin ng additional 100 contact tracers. Ang DO8 po, nag-augment na rin po ng nurses po para po sa hospitals namin. PNP, magpapadala rin po ng mga augmentation for our barangays. And MMDA Oplan Kalinga for the additional isolation facilities. So we are preparing for the worst, but hopefully praying for the best.
Okay,
So,
well,
naman po sana.
okay. Our prayers go with the people of Pasay, Pasay City, and the leaders of Pasay City, and we hope that you will get all the support and all the advance information to prepare yourselves. Thank you very much, Miko.
Thank you so much, sir. Good morning.
Okay, thank you, Miko. And now we go to our next interview. We have on the line, on board, Francis Lim, President, Financial Executives Institute of the Philippines, or FINEX. Francis, welcome back to Agenda.
Good morning. Thank you, Chief Sito, for being back.
Okay, Francis, well, you were with the Management Association of the Philippines, if I remember correctly.
Yes,
You went
that's right.
to Phoenix. You know, people, I've heard about Phoenix, but I'm not really clear, and I don't think a lot of people fully understand what Phoenix is all about.
Well, FINEX is an organization primarily composed of our chief finance officers and senior financial executives. We're more into the financial aspect of the country, unlike MAP, which is which deals with the management aspect, no, in the private sector. No, yeah, it's less prominent than MAP. It's much smaller, although more or less the same age, and that's why we have to beef up our presence in the national scene. We have to be prominently relevant, so to speak. And that's part of the reason why I accepted your invitation, Sito, to be interviewed today, no? To give our public some insights of Phoenix on this issue of vaccination.
Okay, well, vaccination as well as the economy, because the president already thumbed down the idea of a MGCQ, or modified general community quarantine, that many business people were hoping would be a shot in the arm, no pun intended, pero parang sabi nga nila, nako, ito yung iniintay natin, makabuelo kahit papano back to normal. Now, what is the response of the money people? As you pointed out, kayo yung mga finance, kayo yung nagbabalanse, and kayo yung nagbabantay, may pera pa ba yung kumpanya, kumikita ba yung kumpanya, etc. No? How does the president's decision and the fact that we still have no real volume of vaccines. We don't have the vaccine, and we're still waiting for the vaccine.
Yeah, first of all, Phoenix on February 21 issued a public statement supporting the call of the NEDA to open up the economy by shifting the entire country to a less stringent community quarantine. No? And, I think that this also the IATF mayors and our economic managers made that recommendation to the president. But the president has decided to stay put until the vaccination program is in place. No? So on what that presidential decision means, what it really means is that we have to speed up the acquisition of vaccines and roll out of the vaccination program. Because unless we do this, businesses will find it difficult to plan and determine when they can resume full operations. That's number one. Number two, businesses may continue to hold back on investments because of this uncertainty. Number three, consumer spending will be adversely impacted, and overall, we may continue, our economy may continue the sluggishness. No? We're already recovering, and I think this presidential decision will set us back a little, Sito.
Francis, are you using the correct term? I'm not being disrespectful. Are
Yeah.
you using the correct term by saying the economy is recovering? Because most people I speak with is, pare, maswerte na lang kung makapreno tayo sa pagbagsak ng ekonomiya. That's how they put it, bluntly, that the economy is still crashing, and all this talk about economic recovery is just pipe dream. Kasi to them, unless we go at least 50 to 70%, we're not even stopping the crash.
Yeah, recovering in the sense that we had a 9% GDP contraction last year. Okay,
Yeah.
and by recovering we mean what I meant is really from that low base we are slowly going back. No, and I see data of the NEDA would show that, and we the business sector sense feel some sort of recovery. But I think this presidential decision is setting that small recovery or little recovery that we have seen happening, Sito. That's what I meant.
Okay, okay. Just to be clear, because I mean, I welcome any form of recovery, or okay na sa akin yung slump eh. Wag lang
Yes.
mag-crash, wag lang
Wag lang
tuloy-tuloy
mag-crash,
yung crash, di ba? So at least
Yeah.
medyo pumreno na at bumebuelo na.
Bueno.
Okay. Now, here's my concern, Francis, because this is real life, okay? Yesterday, I was in a mall to buy some supplies, and I overheard two guys. And, these were obviously company executives, and one guy was asking the other, are you going to have yourself vaccinated? And then the guy said, I suppose, I'm not yet sure. Why? What about you? I'm not really convinced about the vaccines. And then I stopped eavesdropping. And then when I got home, a member of a church called me and said, what are your thoughts regarding the vaccination? Because there are certain organizations that are talking about vaccinating their employees, their staff, etc. And I said, well, if it's a known brand, established company, I'll have myself vaccinated. And he went on about, gene alteration, etc. And I'm going, I respect this guy. This guy is intelligent. Where's all of this paranoia and fear coming from? And it made me realize, and after our interview with Tommy Osmeña this morning, he confirmed that so many people are not convinced about vaccination. How does that relate to you and your members regarding wanting to vaccinate the working sector para the economy can push? Baka sabihin sa inyo ng working sector, mamaya matodas pa kami dyan.
Well, there are so many ideas conflicting on the efficaciousness and safety of the vaccine. But from our perspective, let's just rely on the experts and our government regulatory authorities. Other countries have already launched their programs. In fact, we in the Philippines are very late, and we just have to keep waiting to believe that our regulators, the government agency, particularly that is in charge of giving its approval, will do their job. As a layman, Sito, I take comfort in the fact that advanced countries, the United States, the UK, and even in the ASEAN have already launched their vaccination program. And people are taking it. I do get the point of this, what they call some doubt in people. But anyway, from our perspective as Phoenix and as a business organization, we would like to encourage our members to get vaccinated.
Yeah, but
Phoenix,
yeah, Francis,
okay, go
how
ahead.
come, sorry, Francis, but how come I haven't heard much from the business organizations, business leaders about, hey guys, I'm having myself vaccinated. I've said that myself as a host of this show. I have said that time and again. I've had the flu vaccine, I've had the pneumonia vaccine, and when the COVID vaccine comes from Pfizer, Moderna, or AstraZeneca, I'll have that. I don't qualify for the China vaccine because I am not on that list. So, but why is it that I have not? I've heard groups like the group that Joey Concepcion is working with. They're buying the vaccine, but they're not talking to the public about please have yourself vaccinated. Trust these vaccines.
You're right. And it's a good idea. Let me take it up with Phoenix at least, no, to encourage public participation in this vaccination program because so much depends on the participation, no. But what I'd like the public to know is that we in Phoenix and even in MAP have rolled out a program to help our member companies acquire vaccines for their employees and even for the family members of their employees. No? We're participating in the Moderna acquisition program of ICSI, and we've, I think, the MAP. I'm the chairman of the National Issues Committee. Has ordered about 25,000 doses. Um, yeah, and no, no, 240,000 doses, and Phoenix has ordered about 20,000 doses for its members. No, but you're right, Chito. We have not come out publicly or issued this public statement urging the public to participate. But the message that I'd like to impart is that let's just trust, no, the vaccines that have been rolled and used in other countries, no, and these are far more advanced countries. No? And I think part of the doubt is what happened in the vaccine, no? But anyway, that's another issue. No? But I
Yeah.
think to put our focus on this vaccination program for COVID prevention.
Okay, now, as an organization of financial wizards, I'm sorry to say that, because yeah, you have to be a wizard to make the numbers work under this present circumstance. What are your primary concerns in the group, aside from the vaccination program? Everyone is talking about changing the constitution, liberalization, opening the country to foreign investments. Where are you more inclined to get the ball rolling, so to speak?
Thank you for asking that question, Sito, no? Because we've issued public statement, no, strongly opposing Chacha or constitutional change at this time. We have far-ranging problems that need focus and attention. We have the economic bills that are badly needed to stimulate our economy. No? Fortunately, two of these bills have already been passed, the Create and Freeze bill. And yesterday, we in Phoenix issued a public statement urging the swift passage of the Guide Act, no? Which would beef up the capitalization of the development banks like the Land Bank of the Philippines, Development Bank of the Philippines, the Philippine Guarantee Corporation, in order that they can help stimulate the economy. No? And for example, but Sito, no, I think there was a recent ADB study. No? I think it came out September last year, which basically says that more than 70% of our MSMEs, no, have temporarily closed due to the COVID-19 outbreak. No? And as far as wage payments are concerned, the study also indicates that 60% of our SMMEs totally suspended salaries to their employees. And about 67% or 66% have reported temporary staff cuts. No? So these are figures that we have to pay attention to. And we in Phoenix and do not think that focusing our attention to a very controversial issue like the Chacha is the right thing to do at this time. Okay?
Francis, I just observed something. You mentioned 60% this, 60% that. And I think that's part of our common mistake, all of us, me in
Yes.
media, you guys in business. When we do percentile accounting, instead of saying, 1 million or 2 million or 3 million companies closed down, so many banks have closed down because, I'm sure you must have gotten those Viber messages where they tell you, this big company in America shut down, this retailer in England shut down, and it has more impact. And people pay more attention kasi when you start talking MSMEs, when I teach in DAP, I always challenge the DTI people. Ano ibig sabihin ng MSMEs ninyo? Kayo lang ang merong dictionary diyan.
Tama Sito, no? Sorry for that, no?
No,
But
no,
it's
I'm just
okay.
pointing that out kasi
Yes, yes.
we tend to kind of diminish what the real impact is. So in general, how many million people lost their jobs?
I think there was a ADB study, no, which basically said that 5.5 million people will fall into poverty as a result of the pandemic
In the Philippines?
in the Philippines. Yeah,
Aray
that's a
ko.
lot.
Yeah.
So I think that's a very telling figure. It's a simulation, but I think that's very telling. No? And I think, and we feel it on the ground. Huh?
Mhm.
People don't have anything to eat. They ask, um, and it's really a reality on the ground, Sito. That's why
Okay.
we, the government and the private sector, should work hand in hand on a whole nation approach, no, to address this COVID problem rather than uh, getting into a highly political, sensitive political issues such as the Chacha.
Okay.
And
Well,
I think
Fran,
we should discourage early campaigning, political campaigning at this time.
okay. Well, simple solution, don't give campaign funds to people knocking on your doors. Thank you very much, Mr.
Thank
Francis
you.
Lim. We will invite you yet again so we can further discuss these topics. And we hope you'll have a good weekend. Our warmest greetings to your members. And please keep us in your reminder board. Thank you very
Thank
much.
you. Stay safe, Sito. Nice talking to you
Okay.
again.
Okay, that's Mr. Francis Lim of Phoenix. Okay, and wait a minute. I think we have something upcoming. But anyway, Francis Lim is the president of the Financial Executives Institute of the Philippines, or Phoenix. In the meantime, let's go to our netizen report or feedback from our viewers. And here we go.
Last week, we asked you, are you in favor of allowing local government units to procure their own COVID-19 vaccines? Netizen Mawilki Senle says yes, she is in favor of it. Her hopes? That Filipinos actually will opt to be vaccinated, otherwise it will be a waste. Netizen Alfredo Fernando cannot help but wonder. He asked, if the vaccines will come from the LGUs, who will receive the vaccines being procured by the national government? Last week, we also discussed with Senator Kiko Pangilinan on how to find a solution to the country's food woes. We ask you, how can the government help producers during these trying times? Netizen Tobias Pagusara suggests that the government should investigate alleged price manipulators. For netizen Joselito Manahan, price ceilings will not solve the problem. He says it's either vendors or hog raisers who will take the blow of having no profit.
Okay, that's our netizen report, and we're down to our last minute. Please allow me to just send out my greetings to Gab, the Game and Amusement Board Chairman Baham Mitra, and to a friend of mine, Doc Carlo Ilagan of Alitagtag, Batangas, who was celebrating his birthday kahapon. Magpa-merienda ka bukas. Pag nagkita tayo, ma-influensyang veterinaryo ng Alitagtag. This is Cito Beltran. It's been a pleasure serving all of you. We hope that we are in one way or another giving you useful information that can help you make the right decision. Magpabakuna po tayo. Maayos na brand, maayos na kumpanya, at para magkaroon ng maayos na buhay. Huwag kayong matakot sa bakuna. Gamot po yan, hindi po yan perwisyo. Okay, that's it. Have a godly day. Have a great weekend.